Hey guys, it's Julie. So I've got a little bit of bad news. I am not in England right now. Um, so I wasn't sure what exactly to do. I wasn't exactly sure if I wanted to go into the whole story. Excuse me, guys, hiccups. If I wanted to go into the whole story here, or if I wanted to just, give you guys the basics. So I think I'll try to just give you guys the basics because I don't want to go too much into it because I just don't want this video to be the cause of any future problems. So what basically happened is I flew out Saturday, got to Chicago. Chicago was fine. I spent like I think 8 hours in the terminal there, which was fine. I got a chance to have some breakfast and just kind of hang out and talk to people. Well, not really talk to people, but kind of hang out with my fellow travelers, that kind of thing. And then we boarded the plane. The plane was really nice. It was really beautiful. Um, it must have been a newer type plane because it was a lot fancier than what I was used to. And I was in coach, which means I can't even imagine what first class was like, or business class, or whatever. But it was really nice. It was really pretty. Um, and so that was the longest part of the flight. I couldn't sleep. I was just like excited. I was just like, almost vibrating. I was so excited. But anyway, so landed in Heathrow, okay. Went all the way down. Everything went fine. Went through security and all that. Everything went fine until I got up to the border, where the border agents were. And I handed my passport to this one guy, and, he started asking me questions, asking me, so how long are you staying, who are you going to be staying with, and all that. And apparently he did not like my answers. So I got pulled aside. First, I just had to wait in this little area that like kept off to the side of the line, and then I got told to follow him, and got into where the holding area is of the airport, and basically was told I was going to be interviewed, and I was in this room. Walked in this room without my phone, without my laptop, couldn't do anything, and I mean, it was fine. And I do have to thank the people who worked in that area because they did their absolute best to make me feel comfortable, and they did their best to, once I explained my situation and was talking to them, they offered me advice. They were like, this is maybe what you want to do next time and all that. So they made me feel as much, comfortable as I could, but I was still extremely nervous. I didn't know at all what was going on. And so eventually the guy came back, told me to follow him, and we went to this little interview room, and then the questions really started. And I'm not going to go into what all he asked me or all that stuff, but it was eventually decided that I would not be allowed to go into England. And basically the main reasons, I think, were because, from what he said and everything, were because, well, number one, I didn't have a return ticket. But the reason why I didn't have a return ticket, and I tried telling him this, was because at the time, I didn't know where we were gonna be, and because at the time, Mom and Dad were, they just gotten back from Florida right before the day before I left, and they had like just found a place, so I didn't even have like a physical address or anything yet. Now, I should have gotten that from them, granted, but hindsight's 2020, as they say. So basically, it was that, and it was the fact that I was going to be staying for 6 months, and even though I was going to be staying with Keith, the guy, he basically said that he wasn't sure I was going to have enough money to be able to stay and for the whole 6 months, and what would happen after the 6 months, or what if something happened and Keith and I got into a fight or whatever and I had to make my way home by myself, which, it's like I tried to tell him that wasn't going to happen, that Keith wanted me to come and stay with him and that I knew more stuff about him. But then the other part is that I couldn't remember the name of the company that he actually worked for, and I didn't know how much he made. So that was a concern, and they were like, because apparently they've seen a lot of, and this I didn't even find out from the guy who interviewed me. I found out from one of the gals who worked in the office, and she said that apparently they get a lot of young women who want to enter the country because they meet some guy online, but they know hardly anything about him. They don't know his last name, they don't know where he lives, they don't know anything. And so, which I'm a little disappointed because I know all that stuff. I know where I don't know how to get there, but by myself, but I know his address, I know his, I know where he lives, I know where he works, and I know him. So, but whatever. Their minds were made up. And honestly, the other funny part was that when I mentioned that I'd met Keith online, and this was before I knew anything about this was a pattern, that they had girls trying to come into the country to see guys who they hardly knew anything about. When I said I'd met Keith online, it was like, the look on the guy's face told me that was probably the wrong answer. So, but anyway, what can you do? I told him the truth. I told him the truth as much as I could. Actually, I told him the whole truth. I told him about everything, because at this point, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I don't know what's going on. And so, I just, tried to be as honest, I had to rephrase that. It wasn't that I tried to be as honest, I was as honest. I was honest, and apparently the answers weren't good enough, and so I was put back into the holding pen. Finally, I was allowed to call Keith, who was not happy about the situation. He wasn't mad at me, but he was definitely upset over the situation. And so basically, and the other thing I have to say about the people who worked in the area, they made sure I had food. They had like a stock of like sandwiches and And, they had like a little coffee, hot chocolate tea machine. They kept asking me, are you hungry? Are you thirsty? They made sure I could take a shower and get all cleaned up after a while. Brush my teeth, which, and just that makes you feel a little bit better. And so eventually, they came and got me and took me to this little place where they keep people who are having issues with their passports or their visas or whatever, and they can't go home right away. And so these girls, and so it was a place for all women and stuff, but it kind of freaked me out a little bit because they did have some guys working there, and it was just kind of like, okay. I've been sitting in the van riding on my way over there, and it's like basically, it looks like something from out of a prison van or something like out of like NCIS or whatever. And it's like, you start having those thoughts going through your mind as, say, I'm going to wake up in Mexico or something, Or maybe in Canada would be closer. I don't know. But anyway, so so I basically had to stay the night there. My flight back left about 7:50 a.m. and they paid for the flight, which was good, So basically what happened, I was escorted through the airport, had somebody sit with me, and kind of walk me onto the plane. And they gave my passport to one of the stewardesses. And, I'm being told that all this is standard procedure and that there's nothing, not a criminal record or anything. Although they did take my fingerprints and stuff, And so I'm sitting there on the flight back. I haven't been able to see Keith at all. So basically I've been on my own through this whole thing. So I fly back. And then the other little nice surprise I had, because they sent me back the exact same way, flew out of the country, landed in Chicago, and then when I went up to I flew United, and when I went up to the United counter to make the final leg, I found out that they somehow forgot to book me for a flight to Des Moines. And so I'm explaining this to this gal, and again, I have to say, all along the way, people kept coming up, I kept meeting people who were like nice and who were really helpful and stuff. I almost broke down at the Chicago border because, it's coming into the country from England, and I was talking to the agent there, and he was like, he did the same thing, what's your purpose of visit and all that, and I'm like, I'm flying home, and got turned away at the border at Heathrow, so they sent me back. And he said, well, sorry guys, feel a little emotional about this, but they said, well, I'm sorry that happened to you, and welcome home. And that meant a lot to me, because as nice as most of the people had been to me, I still kind of felt like, well, they don't want me. They don't want me in their country, for whatever reason. And So just hearing that made a huge difference. So anyway, when I explained to the gal at the United counter what had happened and that I was trying to make my way home, and she got on that keyboard and she was just like, I will take care of this. And she got me all taken care of, and I didn't have to pay a dime. And so she got me on a plane back to Des Moines, and was able to get a hold of my folks, and in between everything. And they met me at the Des Moines airport and brought me back. So I'm home. Keith and I are both pretty upset about this, but we are going to continue forward with what needs to be done. And tomorrow, hopefully, Keith and I will both be able to sit down and be able to discuss over Skype and everything what we're going to do, and what the best way to go from here is. And the other thing that irritates me, but also is making me kind of wonder if maybe this was the main reason why maybe it wasn't the right time for me to go over. My sister, who had moved to Florida with her daughter, and her ex-husband filed for to get permanent custody of Shay and of my niece, and to have Carrie start paying child support. Problem is, he doesn't pay any child support to her, and he apparently told her at one point that he was working, but he was not reporting his income to the people who are supposed to take child support out of his checks. So that was his mistake. Because my sister's always been, in spite of the fact that he's treated her horribly ever since they were married, and he's been verbally abusive to her, emotionally abusive to her, she has not taken the gloves off, so to speak, because she wants him and her daughter to have at least a decent relationship, and him to be able to have visitation rights. Well, not anymore. The gloves are coming off, and I'm not going to go into too much detail on it because it's an open case and we don't know what the verdict's going to be and all that. But what happened was, he apparently went to a hearing. He had a hearing, while Carrie was driving down to Florida. And apparently the judge decided that his daughter needed to be with him while all of this was going on. And I don't know if he has all the information. I don't know if he just has the ex's information. Not really sure what's going on there. But, so I do apologize about that, guys. I just have a limited amount of knowledge. But basically what's going to happen is that my sister and niece are supposed to arrive here on Friday. And they will be staying here in the house with us for the time being. Until until everything gets sorted, until the truth comes out. So, which I kind of have to chuckle about that a little bit, because Glenn's dug his own grave with this. You know, he's basically kicked himself up the butt with this and caused himself some major pain, and yeah, probably will lose even weekend custody. At least that's what we're hoping. And, you know, so, but yeah, so that's what's been going on. So it's been very stressful. It's been very, just not really knowing what's going on. But anyway, so that's what we know right now. So Mom and Dad aren't going to Florida now. So now we have to find a place. We have to find a place here. Somewhere in Des Moines or the surrounding area. So, but Friday we are having a moving sale. Getting rid of a whole bunch of stuff. And so, if you guys are in the Des Moines or surrounding area and you're interested in looking at some, we've got a wide variety of stuff. So, if you guys are interested, come on in, come on over, take a look at stuff. I think it should be in the paper or online or something. But anyway, yeah, so that's what's going on. And it's funny because, well, as you can tell, I'm not in my room right now because I don't have, my desk is out here. And I don't have, I got rid of a lot of my stuff. I mean, it's either out there in the garage waiting for the sale, or my furniture is out here in the main room, in the living room. So that's, so basically we're all in transition right now. And but I do plan on going back to England. I do plan on trying again. Apparently I need to get like a visitor's visa. That was the one thing that everybody kept telling me at Heathrow. It was like, get this. This will help because it makes it official that you're only going to stay for like 6 months or whatever. And don't, and I mean, I was given a lot of advice and stuff, and, like I said, the people who worked there for the most part were awesome. They were very understanding, very, they explained things to me, other than the guy who interviewed me. And I understand, he was just doing his job. I'm not necessarily mad at him. It's just I don't really get why I was picked out. I mean, there were other people, who, I kept seeing other people, come in and come out of the holding room and everything, and it was just weird. I mean, trying to figure out certain things, and there were people who had issues with their luggage, or people, people I didn't even know why they were in there. It was just like, it was just weird. But I mean, they all apparently got to go home, or got to keep going on their journey. But for some reason, I was picked out as, I don't know if it was like an example or what, but I was chosen as, the person they're gonna send back. So, but whatever. I mean, it was a learning experience, and I definitely learned some stuff that I didn't know before. And, but just a helpful hint, guys, because since I got back, I've been looking up, like information on that stuff, and I found a lot of interesting articles and stuff from other people who have been in my situation, and I've gotten some interesting advice and stuff like that. So just, if you're going to be flying overseas, make sure you have everything you need ahead of time. Make sure you look up stuff, and I thought I did. I thought I looked up everything and, thought I had everything I needed, but, and make sure that make sure that you have a return ticket, or at least some piece of paperwork that says, this is my date, I intend to buy my ticket so that I can go home, and then that should help. But yeah, so I just want to let you guys know what was going on. I'm okay. Still a little unsure about how I was treated, just basically because of not so much the being fingerprinted, but just the not being allowed my phone, not being allowed my laptop, not being allowed to call people, or talk to people, or, get any sort of help. I wasn't notified that I could ask for a lawyer, or seek legal aid, or anything like that. They just wanted to get me out of the country as soon as possible. So, and, I'm working on all that right now. The other issue is, since I'm back home, I'm probably gonna have to find a job, at least for a little while. So, more likely it's gonna be back into retail, which, since that's what I have the most experience in. Well, I may try temporary stuff. I may try office work for at least a little while. See if I can get enough work done through there so that I can get some decent money set aside. Because maybe that'll help with the, you don't have enough funds kind of thing. Anyway, so Keith and I are going to go over a whole bunch of this stuff tomorrow, and we'll see what we can do. And I'm also going to, once I get done here, I'm going to get online and start doing some job searches, and see what I can find. So, wish me luck, guys, and I will keep you updated on what's going on. So just keep me in your thoughts. Hopefully everything will work out, and hopefully I'll be able to fly back out and actually get into the country this time. So, but yeah. So, anyway, thanks, guys. Thanks for letting me talk. It means a lot to me. So, I love you guys. I will see you later. Like I said, not sure when my next vlog or gameplay or whatever is going to be, but I will keep you guys updated. Thanks. Bye.